Hey everyone, Charlie here. Hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year! It's finally 2021 and hope you're all doing well. Before we start today, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Wait, no, that's not it. Hit the thumbs up like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell. This triangle means bell. Hit the bell and do all that stuff for the algorithm because that helps out the channel a lot. Today, I'm going to do a little bit of a playing piano with Charlie episode where, we basically have a piano lesson, a little mini lesson on a little topic. And one person asked recently, when it comes to improvisation, how do you improvise around a song, like around a theme? And that's a great question that probably could, fill up 7.5 books. But I just want to kind of give a brief overview of how you might approach basically just improvising around a song. So you guys we're just doing this real low key today. You guys are right here next to my piano. And I want to talk to you and kind of demonstrate a little bit about what you're going to do if you're going to improvise around a theme. So when you're starting off on improvisation, you're going to probably suck. It's something that you kind of have to, Nike it. You just kind of have to do it. Just do it. And the more you do it, the better you get. I've talked about in previous videos, or a previous video, about how I liken, is that a word? I think of improvisation as like playing with a box of Legos. You got all kinds of shapes and colors and sizes, and those are like musical ideas or things or, little motifs or whatever, and your big box of just, you threw all the Legos in your toolbox. And then when you're gonna improvise something, you think, oh, I'm gonna make a house today and I want it to be a big house or something. And then you start taking the Legos out and you build it together in a house. You don't actually start like manipulating and cutting pieces to get your hacksaw out and start sawing the Legos. You just use what you have and then you kind of build it up. And so what we wanna do is build up the Legos that we have in the box so that the more Legos you have and the more, then the more ways you can put things together and make your own music. So a great way to start with improvisation is actually to do covers, which are basically just playing along with a pop song, a Disney song, or whatever, and improvising around that, and basically making your own version of it. So one way to do it is to literally turn on a song you like and play along with it. First, it might just be a few chords, so let's pick a song that hopefully is not copyrighted. So we need to choose an old song. Let's see. How about we go with How Great Thou Art? Because someone actually requested me to play that. I don't think I made a recording of it. So let's do How Great Thou Art. So it's the tune. Yeah, that kind of a tune, right? And so how do you improvise around that? How do you play it? Well, the first thing to do is find a recording and play along with it. And it might just be as simple as playing the melody. Now, if you already play the piano, it'd probably be easier for you. You can figure out what notes they're playing and then figure out. If you don't know, well, you can just, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 keys on the keyboard, and it just repeats. And so on. So you could probably figure it out. If you hear one, is it wrong one? Well, I don't know, I can't sing, but find the right note and then you can kind of pick and choose. Right, until you get the right one. So start off basically by playing along with the melody. And then the other big thing of improvisation is like the key that you're in. So your chord, your harmony. So ideally, then you can start adding along the harmony. So play like a 3-note chord with it. C major, F major, G major, C major, right? So it's simple. And once you get good at that, then you can start kind of expanding it out. And there's a bajillion ways you can do that, but let's say instead of doing just a chord, you'll do. Just instead of playing a chord, you'll play them separately. Break the chord up. And you can do arpeggios, you can do all kinds of stuff like that. But the bottom line is to play along with the music. So once you have the chords down and the melody, what you can do is that you can kind of go off on your own. So as the recording is playing stuff, as the recording's playing, you could be doing something else. And it might not sound that fancy. It might sound more like, or something at first, but you figure out what works, keep that, and what doesn't work, and toss that aside. And basically you can kind of expand on that. It's gonna sound like crap at first. That's just how it is. It's just, at the beginning when you're starting off on improvisation, it's probably gonna sound lousy. That's okay, but you just keep working at it. And basically that is the basics of how to kind of improvise around a song. Then what you can do is once you get let's say you can play the tune simply all the way through or whatever, then you can get rid of the recording. Play it yourself, and you might find that you want to start changing it. Maybe it sounded good when it was, had an orchestra behind it or whatever the recording had in it. But then when you play by yourself now it just sounds, pretty simple, not so great. And then you can think, okay, well, let's say I wanted to make the piano sound more similar to that recording that sounded much better. How do I do that? Well, maybe I'll go down a little bit and then jump up. Right? Which all I'm doing is just playing the notes lower and adding, an extra note. So instead of one C, play two Cs, something like that. And then you might say, okay, what if I add a second note in the top, make an octave? Sounding better already. So you figure out what works and you throw away what doesn't. And that's basically the extent of it. And then now you're playing by yourself, right? You've gotten rid of the recording. You can kind of play it by yourself. You're making it fancier. And now let's say you want to go away from the original melody. Well, what you could do is you could keep the same harmonies, like the same whatever pattern sequence of notes, of harmonies that happens, and just do something different with your right hand. Or something very simple like that, right? And basically it's that process of just kind of going a little bit further and a little bit further. And it'll take time. It probably will. I mean, some people it might just be fast and good for you, but for most of us it's going to take time. And that's okay. But it's a great way, playing along with music and doing your own versions of other people's songs is a great way, I think, to start your creative juices of improvising flowing, getting it flowing. And the neat thing about the piano is that you can, emulate almost any instrument. It's hard to emulate rap, but that's another story. But you could emulate like an orchestra, guitars, violin, you can emulate all kinds of stuff. And very few instruments can do that. So what you can do is, especially when you get rid of the original recording and you start playing by yourself, what can I do to make it sound more like that sound that I heard originally? How can I make the piano now sound like it's not just playing a little part, but it's playing the whole thing. Things like that. So that's kind of a good starting place. And I think it's a good way, playing other covers of songs, playing along with other songs, to kind of get those creative juices flowing and kind of get it kind of going, if you know what I mean. And then when you go to make your own pieces, your own improvs that are completely from scratch, not even based on another song, so you're not just improving your own version of another song, that is, but you're actually making one completely from scratch. You kind of know what works and what doesn't. When people compose, when they improvise, they're not reinventing the wheel. They've just seen a lot of wheels, and they know what kind of works and what doesn't. That makes sense. They aren't reinventing the wheel, but they've seen a heck of a lot of wheels, and so they know what types of wheels go on what types of cars. And I don't know, I'm just full of analogies today. But anyways, you aren't reinventing the wheel. You just know what works, and you can put them together quickly in ways that make it work. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that's been a little bit helpful. Hope it wasn't too confusing. Let me know if you have more questions down below about this or other topics and stuff. And I'll see you next time. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the little bell, ding, ding, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me on Playing the Piano with Charlie.